Good morning, everybody. It's Martin Mazza with the Mazza team. Today, I am here with Shelley Baker-Gracie. Good morning, Shelley.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? How are you, Martin?
Good, good. Back in the office, locked door, nobody's here. Again, we've got some stuff going on. You know, we're still trying to purge through a couple of listings where people are in a position where they've really gotta sell. And you know, and activity has dropped off considerably. So we're seeing way fewer listings come to market, way fewer sales, and for the right reason. It is what it is, and I think people are doing a good job. I've said it before, but it's tough. So I made it into the office. Where are you sitting today, Shell?
Well, a few weeks ago, we opted to make a decision for Jackson, our son, and myself to move up to our cottage. The reason being is my husband's a frontline worker, I guess. Some people would consider him a backdoor worker, but frontline in the sense that he's been in funeral services for over 30 years, and he's manages Toronto, Kitchener, and Hamilton clusters. So there's sadly a lot of people that aren't making it through this COVID situation, and he's kind of the end of the line for that, and trying to make sure that those families are taken care of the way they should be. And with that, he's doing traveling between all of his locations, and he's probably more at risk because he's into these funeral homes where there is sadly people that have to say goodbye to family members that haven't made it through this.
Wow.
And in having a son with asthma, we just made a conscious decision that it was probably better if we came up here until, you know, we could figure out a different plan. Yeah. And luckily we were here because we've had some serious flooding up here on the shores of Lake Erie.
Yeah, we could probably have a long discussion on that, which maybe we won't, because I mean, you with Lake Erie, we've got clients on Lake Ontario. You know, I don't know if a lot of people know, water levels on Lake Ontario are up almost 3 feet, you know, over a bunch of years, which has caused a lot of damage and flooding along that. It's unfortunate. And you and Lake Erie, you showed me some pictures. Wow.
Yeah, we've had this place since 1990s and never seen the likes of water levels like this. Serious damages to quite a few properties. I feel really sorry for the people that aren't above the water table or the high water mark, because you know, some of these damages aren't really irreparable. Some of them you're seriously gonna have to start from the ground up wow. Because of the damages. But you know, it is what it is. We're lucky to have this option available to us. It's great for us. You know, homeschooling with Jackson, having a teenager in high school, which I'm sure many people are in that situation. Right. Trying to stay is important, and feeling safe until we kind of figure out different options isn't a bad idea at all.
All right. Hey, just I'll jump in. And your video is your audio is awesome. Your video freezes a little bit. I'll just tell everybody, Shelley's working off of a cellular signal, not a Wi-Fi internet service. So hopefully we don't lose her, because we lost Fiona the other day and did a part 2. But hopefully we'll get through this. And so your husband, funeral services, your dad right now in a care home. Yeah. Couple of challenges on top of everything else going on today. How's your dad doing?
Well, I mean, a lot of people probably don't know that we put my dad into a long-term care facility in June of last year. That actually allowed me to rely on the amazing Mazza team while I transitioned him there. I've kind of taken some of my workload off my plate in order to be present and accounted for at this point in his life. I think it's really important when our parents are so great to us and teach us everything about, you know, honesty, integrity, friendship, compassion, and understanding, that we're able to give that back to them in their later years. So in the fall, I was able, late fall, Christmas, January, I'm pretty grateful for the fact that I was able to, you know, transition him in there, be there 3 to 5 times a week. But he does have dementia, and it is advancing pretty quickly. I'm sad that he doesn't understand why everybody just stopped coming. That's probably the hardest thing I have to contend with. Yeah. Is he doesn't get it. With that, he's failed a little. He, you know, went on about a 7-day food strike, and I had to get involved with the dietitian and the nutritionist to try and give him some boost drinks. He lost a fair bit of weight because everybody stopped coming. But one thing I've got to give a huge shout out to is the nursing home staff, not just the PSWs and the nurses and the practical nurses and the administrators, but, you know, the physiotherapists, the recreation departments, all of those guys are, in my mind, complete heroes. What they've done to try and reassure families is just amazing. The recreation department arranges FaceTime calls with my dad twice a week. Sometimes I'm
Awesome.
lucky 3 times a week. And then once a week, sometimes twice a week, they'll arrange for me to drive in and be outside of their glass front window. And I get to see him, and then they give me a phone call on my cell phone so that I can actually talk while he can hear me. And we're looking at each other. So it's really the next best thing to not being able to hug him. Sometimes I see emotion in his eyes. He doesn't understand why I can't come in, but all in all, they're making the absolute best of the worst situation possible.
Yeah, I agree. Great shout out. And he's in Hamilton. You don't have to say where he is, but if anybody's
Yeah.
watching this and know where he is, that's great, comforting. And no COVID issues, because we've all heard, how the care homes have had some a lot of cases, and some have been really overrun with it. So good to hear he's okay.
I mean, things is a lot of these people move into these long-term care homes, and I think Canada is a little bit different than some of the other countries, and in a good way, because when people move into long-term care homes, they give their directives. So such as no heroics. If you don't want to be taken to a hospital, if you become sick with pneumonia, and even if it wasn't COVID related, having those type of directives allows the nursing home to keep them where they are in an environment that they're hopefully familiar with. The biggest or hardest impact is the fact that you can't be with them. That's the hardest thing I think that there is to swallow when that happens. But on a positive note, I think Canada is managing it well by trying to keep people in, and that's why I don't think our hospitals have been overridden with this, because these elderly are staying in the nursing homes if they happen to get it.
Wow. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Shelley. I think a lot of people know, and if they don't, you came from the, as a healthcare professional, how many years ago? 20 plus years now?
Well, this is my 22nd year in real estate, and I
Yep.
did 12 years of nursing.
Yep.
So, it's been a long time. It seems like a lifetime ago, but in these type of situations, that nursing brain kind of comes back to you, and sometimes you overthink things, but at the end of it, you still have the kindness and compassion that you should have. And I hope everybody has for our healthcare professionals and our frontline workers in this type of a situation.
And I've said it. I mean, I think that's what makes you, the realtor you are, and the way, and knowing how much people love and trust you is, your background, your bedside manner once upon a time must have been excellent, and you bring that same compassion and that same care to the real estate business. And people who love Shelley Baker-Gracie just love Shelley Baker-Gracie. There's no doubt about that. Very true blue loyalty in your clients, and we're fortunate to have those people work with the team over the last bunch of years. 7 years now, Shell?
Yeah, we're in our 7th year.
Yeah,
Time flies.
crazy. I mean, I was talking with Munger over 10 years, Cindy over 20 years. I mean, but anyway, it's still good. Just a quick note, thank you for your participation. We had a really nice drop off at the Stony Creek Food Bank yesterday, and we're going to talk about, we're going to put another Facebook post out because we still have money coming in. So we had the GoFundMe page set up to kind of stop on Sunday, but Sunday night, yesterday, today, we still got money rolling in. So we're going to set up another shopping and drop off, and we'll figure that out. But you participated, thank you, and as did the team. So awesome thing to do right now, and they're in need, no question about it. I'm sure people can imagine.
Well, I've always been a huge community advocate, huge person out supporting the underdogs. It bothers me when somebody doesn't have what they need, especially in these type of circumstances. Growing up, in essentially geared income housing as a young kid, we struggled. So I totally get it. And I think of all these families and these people at this time and how trying it is. And I'm super proud of the team initiative to start the food bank drive and get that much from the community. I mean, kudos to our community for being
Yeah.
so hands-on
Yeah.
in doing this. I think it's
Yeah.
great.
And I think we can even go deeper. I think there are so many people, maybe we didn't have a long enough campaign. Like I said, money's still rolling in, and calls and messages still coming in. So we're going to open it up again and do it again. So, we've talked a little bit about real estate with the whole team. And I circle back because this is who we are and what we do. And there's lots of questions, and I'm sure you're getting it too. So I'm sure you've got, your clients who are calling you saying, Shelley, where are things at, and what's the future hold? And, we're, as a team, we're staying in touch, weekly, almost daily, making sure we know what's going on, and how sales are trending and prices. What's your thought, and what are you telling clients right now?
Well, one thing is the sky is not falling. That Chicken Little kind of movie thing, it's not falling. I do believe that people who read reports that say anything differently are probably just simply fear mongering onto something that really isn't going to happen or hasn't been proven to happen. I do believe we're going to have a pent-up demand somewhere along here. There's people that have wanted to move, that plan to move. I think they started getting their houses ready back in January, not foreseeing that. I had a message from a client last night who had ordered all of her new flooring and her new baseboards to get it done and to go on the market in April, May. And she ordered flooring in February before this hit, and now everything's on hold. And she's asking, do I still continue? Absolutely, because people will still have to move, maybe even more so after spending so much time in the house with your family. You'll realize your house is too small. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I believe that there will be a pent-up demand. I also believe that sellers have gotten their properties ready with the expectation that they're going to move. And I also don't think there's going to be a better time for buyers with the interest rates being what they are, and the ability to secure that and move forward. Now, employment, absolutely, employment's going to have a factor on this. People getting back to work and all of that stuff. But I believe our market, our area has always been somewhat insulated because of what we offer, our easy commute to the bigger city. I think that we're going to see a rebound. I don't think that our prices have fallen at all or gone down at all. I think they've stayed pretty much status quo.
Yeah.
And I think that people are going to grab that bull by the horns after we start to release some of these constraints and actively start to consider getting the homes on the market or hunting again for houses.
Yeah.
And, realtors are learning a new way to deliver service. Thank goodness for the internet and virtual tours and virtual open houses and all of those things that are available, because it allows both sellers and buyers to stay in tune.
Yeah, and we're not signing documents live anymore. Everything is electronic, when we have to do business. But you're right on pricing, and I think people would be surprised to hear that prices actually rose from January to March of this year. There's some numbers that have been reported recently. And when you look at some of the recessions of the past, where prices in real estate did drop and there were adjustments, it was a different climate. There was a flood of listings coming to market, few buyers in the marketplace, higher interest rates. I mean, let's rewind back to the early 90s, when interest rates were 12, 13, 14%, double digits. And again, a flood of houses coming on the market. We've talked about it for years. We still have an inventory problem. There's not enough houses to meet the demand. And I can only imagine what's going to happen now with builders. You've had a great relationship with a couple of builders over the years, and some of their construction sites have halted. So combined with the builders not being able to finish some product, taken to market, a pent-up demand, as you said, from what would have been the spring market, low inventory levels right out of the gate this year, from January to April. We're going to see, but those things, suggest, and again, nobody's got a crystal ball, but suggest that the prices will remain stable when we get through this, and time will tell. But that's our thought, and I don't think it's a self-serving statement either. I think it's a reality.
I agree with you. I don't think anyone should buy into any type of fear factor. I think they should wait, stay the course, and see what the market will do. But I think that Canada has responded really well to the COVID situation on numerous levels. And I think once you see how they release this and roll this out, the amount of support they've given, the forgiveness and payments, I think Canada is doing everything to keep people in their homes financially. And I also think that the market will have a need for some people to move and want houses. And I agree with you 100% about the values staying where they are right now and not having seen anything crash and burn, so to speak. I think we've been in a great position with our market from January on to spring.
Yeah, they've talked about a pause in the market. So it's paused. It hasn't, people who were considering selling or buying didn't just drop out of the market forever. They've paused their decision, for obvious reasons.
Hiccup of what we saw in late 2008 when the U.S. Did what it did in the real estate market. And, they kept saying the Canadian market was going to follow, but we didn't. We paused, we hiccuped, but we didn't see our prices go down. We saw them just stay stable and level out. We saw people take a couple of deep breaths and wait to see what was going to happen. And then by the spring of 2009, we were business as usual. Yeah. So, to that point, I think we need to stay the course, wait it out. And obviously, I think believe in the fact that the government's going to do everything to try and keep us rolling along with what the incentives they're offering.
Yeah, absolutely. All good information. Anything you want to share with us? Anything personally, business-wise? Again, it's like forever since I've seen you, other than these videos. But anything new going on that you want to share?
I'd love to end this type of conversation on a positive note about kindness, compassion, and the things that are happening out there. I'm just going to give a few examples that I think are utterly awesome. And I think from everything bad, you have to focus on your cup being half full and not being half empty. Yeah. And I love that from a humanity standpoint, we're really seeing the good in people. Giving thanks, showing appreciation. I hope we don't go back to the old way of being so rushed and so hurried that we forget to stop and say thank you to someone. Shout out to Sue Aiken, who's also with Royal LePage State and had a group. I put a call out needing some masks, fabric masks for my husband's business. And Sue had them made within 24 hours and Shauna delivered them to our doorstep so that my husband could take them to work. I mentioned to my husband, because he's not on social media, about Dylan's Distillery offering the antiseptic hand solutions for cleansing. And of course, I think anyone in those industries are at a shortage for finding it. And an email to Dylan's Distillery, they immediately produced several cases for him that he was able to send down and have them picked up. Yeah. And recently out here at our cottage, we had a neighbor who needed to go in for a cardiac procedure actually today. And it's their 60th wedding anniversary tomorrow in addition to that. So they're, an elderly couple. And I was concerned because he's been married for 60 years and he's got to drop her off at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning for the procedure, but the hospitals aren't letting anyone in. So that being said, I took to social media to ask for some options, and there was like 65 comments and probably 20 shares. And I had this client that lives in Lake Point, actually part of my community page, step up, and she knew of somebody who had a quality Airbnb right down 2 blocks from the general hospital. He called me and said, hey, here's the photos, here's the link. It was vacant about 3 weeks ago, professionally cleaned. I'll give you the passcode and he can go in and use it at his leisure for free. Like, awesome. It's asking and watching people step up. And I think out of all of this, I'm going to take away some pretty happy smiles for the way our world is changing with kindness and compassion and understanding. I mean, we've always drank that Kool-Aid that you're far happier when you give more than you receive. I mean, that's been one of our team motives. And that's one of the reasons why, I wanted to be part of the team 7 years ago, because everybody was like-minded. But I think this really goes to show you that Canada is pretty awesome. We're all rock stars and kindness is great.
Yeah, good for you. Nice stories. I'll just jumping in on a couple of points there. Dylan's in Beamsville, making the hand sanitizer, but I will say they actually make a very good gin and a very good vodka too. Not that, I'm drinking right now, but no, they're great. And they're right off the highway in Beamsville. If you know them, their stuff is in the LCBO. nice local distillery to support, and I'm glad you brought them up. And I'll quote Richard Robbins on your point about giving. He coined this phrase years ago, and I love it. He says giving starts the receiving process. And Richard Robbins, I consider him a friend and a coach in our business. But yeah, so all good points, Shell. You're right. Hopefully, when we come out of this, people will reflect back and remember the good things that people did, as you're suggesting, and how we all help each other get through this. And you know, I love this Zoom, and I'm not trying to bump Zoom, but it just the video concept. And you know, we've been doing this with our friends lately on Friday night, Saturday night. You know, a bottle of wine and 2, 3, 4 couples, you know, on a Zoom chat, and just catching up. And you know, it's been great, really interesting to catch up with people that way and see their faces. Yes, you can pick up the phone and call, but this is awesome to see you, and you look great, and you look happy. At least you're getting through this. And so send my best wishes to Scott, you know, in the funeral service business, and I hope he's doing okay. Say hello to Jax, and you know, we'll do this again. I've enjoyed chatting with the whole team and you today. And I'm trying to get Emily and Jennifer to.
Emily, that'll be a battle.
Em's been working from home. She's been awesome doing our social media posts, and we're in touch every day. You know, I love her to pieces. She's so great. Mom of a couple of young kids too. So, but still doing a bunch of work from home. So, and Jen, miss her to pieces too. You know, she's same thing. She's at home helping out here and there. So anyway, we'll see if we can get there.
Is the energy in our office. It's
Yeah.
always, it's your work family, and they're truly a family. So I agree with you.
Yeah, you said it. Okay, listen, I love catching up, and you know, like I said, we'll do this again. So best wishes, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay home.
You and yours.